What's happening? Reeferman here, and as such, we've got some OR pre-roll, 1 gram pre-roll. OR, no idea what this strain is. It's produced by Tikkun Olam, Nature's Heritage Cannabis. Let's see. These numbers are so small, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read something on this thing right here. See those numbers? No, because it's fuzzy, because it's small. Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now. Total... Oh, no, I'm sorry. THCA, 27.87%. THC 9, I want to say, is 0.45%. 0.05% CBDA. Nothing for CBD alone. So it sounds like it's a fairly potent strain. OR, yeah, I have no idea what that might be short for or anything, but smells nice. Smells nice coming out of the jar. Smell that. Pre-roll, 1 gram, $10. I break it down because they always end up burning funny. That's the only thing I don't like about these pre-rolls, and it doesn't matter what company I've tried them from, they always end up, half of the stuff gets burnt. You know, you don't get a good, you're smoking maybe a third of it, the rest goes up in flames. Look, see how little I took from the top there? Do this carefully because I got shaky hands. Do you see how little is there? That's enough for me. I usually smoke alone. I'm going to take this, shove it back down in there, save that for later. Later being about 20 minutes for now for me. Whatever. Sometimes it's an hour later, whatever. You know what I'm saying though. Next thing I do, break out my blunt. And this is what I do though, because I smoke alone. We're going to crack that in half. Usually about right in half, but I'll take usually the bigger piece first if they're not exactly the same length. And I roll my blunt, which is what we're doing right now. I'm not great at it. That's why I started rolling half-size ones, because I shake too much. Trying to roll a full-size one, they rip, they break. It's frustrating. I have a shaking condition. I forget what it's called. Runs in the family. It's actually called familial something or other. Yeah. So I'll take about half of what I gave myself in the grinder. All right, and I will begin the rolling process here. And if it seems like there's not nearly enough, I'll add to it. For this being the first time I've tried this kind, I'm going to go a little heavy on it, heavier than I would normally. I did use very little out of that pre-roll, so I'm not too concerned with how much I left behind. I also have a full gram pre-roll of Chocolate OG, which is one of my favorites that I have come across over at Nature's Medicines in Fall River, Massachusetts. At that location, super awesome people work there, very helpful, very friendly. Everybody rolls a little differently. I don't need to play with it. I don't need to play with it, you know? I just get the damn thing twisted and light it up. Some people are too fancy. Oh, I don't like how tight that is or loose that is. Never have a problem with it being too tight. meaning when I hit it, I can hit it, and I don't have to sit there going to get a hit. If that shit happens, you did it too tight. A couple of taste dry hits. Let's see which way the wind goes better. We're gonna fire this up. Let's first reaction, baby. OR pre-roll from Tika. You heard me earlier. I don't know. Fuck it. All right. Yeah. Forgive me, I'm a little scratchy there because I just shaved. But I didn't shave it completely. I wanted to leave a little scruff, you know? Scruffy Nerf herder. Like my man's Han Solo. Anyway, I'm here today not just to tell you about this fine bud. This is pretty good. This is tasty. But, put that down for a second. We got some books this week. First off, we're going to start with the books I got today. I went out to do some filming, but it was too hot and I just wasn't feeling right. So I came home, I needed water, I needed to take a cold shower and whatever. Anyhow, I got some books today. Just two of them, because I saw that the store that I used to not like going to, it's a different company now, but the guy that owns it was an employee at the old place. Same location. Used to be New England Comics in New Bedford, Massachusetts. They are now called Twilight Comics. Like I said, owned by the same guy that worked for them before. Nice dude. So, anyway, if you're in the New Bedford, Mass area and you're into the comic book thing, go check out Twilight Comics on Acushnet Ave in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Yes. Anyway, Reefer Man finally has a bad idea. A bad idea pictures release. The plot. Nope, sorry. Scratch that. The Lot. The Plot is another book that I have somewhere and I can't reach. That was Vault Comics, I believe. Well, this one's Bad Idea, as I said. Written by Marguerite Bennett and artist Renato. I don't think that focused. The last name spelled Guedes. I don't want to butcher it, and I know I will. So I spelled it for you. The art by this guy who I can't pronounce. Here, check this out. A spoiler warning. If you don't want to know what's inside the pages of The Lot, well, I don't know why you would watch a review in the first place. But this isn't even a review of the book. I've only, myself, not even read this. I've read about a third of it. I haven't gotten to this page yet. But look at this art. Yeah, that's right. It's a black and white story. 1971, and this is basically as much as I've read was the first 2 or 3 pages, so not even a third of the book. This is a pretty thick book. Starts in 1971 Hollywood, where some wild shit is going on at a movie studio. It's hard to make out what's going on, but it looks gruesome. And it's really freaking sick. I will show you this once again. Spoiler image warning. Look at that. I wish I had better lighting for you. I do apologize. Absolutely sick looking. I can't wait to finish reading that. I do have to leave soon to go to my job, so I wanted to get on here real quick and make some kind of content for the channel today, especially considering I haven't done any comic book type videos lately. Second up we got today was DC Horror Presents. And I guess it's not a Black Label book, but it's DC Horror Presents is the imprint. The Conjuring, The Lover, issue 2 of 5. I had number 1 and I grabbed it, even though it says DC on it. This is The Conjuring. This is not related. This is not set in the DC universe, I don't think. I mean, issue 1 sure as hell wasn't. It's not like Batman's got to solve a mystery of The Conjuring, you know, or something. Although that would be kind of cool to see a classic Batman have to team up with the original investigators, the Warrens, I believe their name was, right? The Warrens. I'd love to see something where, or even like Bruce Wayne detective, you know, like he's not Batman, but he's a detective, a private eye or something. It's an alternate Earth story. Why not, right? And he has to work with the Warrens to solve the Conjuring cases. That would be kind of cool, actually. Anyway, I'm not a fan of DC right now. They don't. I'm not into it. They don't have what I want, like at all. Let me take another few hits here. While I'm hitting this right quick, make sure you light up those likes, hit those notification bells, and sit tight. As we're getting to it, I just want to finish this thing off real quick. The next 2 books up, I got the other day. What the hell's today now? Saturday. I got these Thursday or Friday when I picked up my books for the last 2 weeks. Those other 2 books I just showed you, as I said, were from Twilight Comics. I don't normally go there. Like I said, I stopped there on a whim today and grabbed those 2 books. The rest of this stack was picked up from the shop I usually use, Newbury Comics at the North Dartmouth Mall, Massachusetts. Superior freaking customer service there. Yeah, if you are watching this and you work there, because I think one of my subscribers is an employee there. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me, boy. I ain't said shit. We got War of the Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra number 12. This is like a tie-in issue to the event. Pretty cool cover. And War of the Bounty Hunters number 2, the event book itself. Now, the Dr. Aphra book is written by Alyssa Wong, penciler Minkyu Jung, Jung, inker Victor Olazaba. Rochelle Rosenberg is the color artist. Letterer VC's Joe Caramagna. Cover Sarah Pichelli and Nolan Woodard. Variant cover a bunch of people. I apologize. I'm not saying all those words. This was let me tell you about this before we get into it here. The War of the Bounty Hunters number 2, The Scoundrel's Ball, this chapter's called. Written, of course, by Charles Soule. Soule? I say Soule because why not? Illustrated by Luke Ross, colored by Neeraj Menon, lettered by VC's Travis Lanham. Steve McNiven, Frank D'Armata, the cover art, variant covers, a bunch of people. Here, check this out. As far as art goes, we'll start there. I think the art in the main book is far better than what we get in the Aphra book. Now, if you don't know about what's going on in this story, it's set between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Right after Empire, Boba is on the way to deliver Han Solo, and someone steals him from him. That's right, someone stole from Boba Fett. And who it turns out to be, not really, it's out there, it's known, but I'm not going to say it here. I suggest you go read this from the beginning, from part 1. I might do a breakdown video, even that would kind of spoil it, but yeah, the people involved with the taking of Solo are holding some kind of ball. Like the title says, the Scoundrel's Ball. My problem with it, with the Afra book, comes from the fact that anywhere from like a third to a half of this issue is in this as well. And this is said to take place first. Yes, it starts before the events of the main part 2 itself, but it kind of spoils what happens in this. This should be read after this. Read number 2 of War of the Bounty Hunters first, then read Dr. Aphra. You are going to see similar scenes in both. It's just a slight perspective, point of view change, whatever. But literally, even the words are the same. It's, you know, it just, one has a little more art. I was told that the Afra thing was first. Don't listen to that. Listen to me. Listen to the Reefer Man. Read this first so that you're not really spoiled as to where it's going, where the story is going to go by the end of it. Because, seriously, the second half of this book, last third of it, maybe the second half of it completely, I don't know, is reprinted in this, like I said. At the end of this, and at the end of this is where it coincides, you know? So if you want to know what happens here, read this first. Anyway, I've mumbled long enough about that. Let's move on to the next books. This is a long-ass video about comics. Next up, we've got issue 6, the finale of Haha. W. Maxwell prints, written by, art covers A and B by these people. Martin Morazzo and Chris O'Halloran. Letters, good old Neon. Cover C by Brian Level. This is cover A. I need the other covers. This is the only cover that my shop had. And I didn't even think to look for it over at the other store there, but I think I would have noticed. Next up is DC, once again, with their Black Label book, The Nice House on the Lake, Part 2. Or issue 2, I should say. And this is being written by James Tynion IV, artist and cover, Alvaro Martinez Bueno, Jordi Belair colors, and world design letterer. Y'all have tested me today with these names, man. You know what? Variant cover, which, is this the variant cover? Yes, this is the variant cover, so I'm gonna say this dude's name right here. Alright. Anand Radhakrishnan. I hope I did that some justice. The Nice House on the Lake continues this story about an apocalypse happening, or have happened. This mysterious stranger rounds up these people that he's been choosing, basically, for their whole lives, for this moment. He kind of Noah's Arked them into this nice house on the lake, told them, the world ended, I did it, saved you, live happily. It's a dark story, does not seem, even still with issue 2, there was one mention of Superman in the first issue. This issue, you actually see in a flashback some Batman and Robin comics. Trying to find that page now for you. So, next to my finger there, there's a pile of comics on the floor, and it might be hard to say, but that's definitely a Batman and Robin book. So, Batman and Robin are comics in this. I don't know if they've ever shown them as comics in the DC universe proper before, like, you know what I'm saying? So this tells me it's more set in another universe, not the DC world, not Infinite State, Future, whatever the hell it's called. I don't care about all that stuff. I don't want that stuff from DC. This is the stuff I want from DC. The Conjuring book is what I want from DC right now. Next up, we've got, and I should mention that the DC book was not in my pull list, but haha, and the Star Wars books was in my pull list. This next one was not in my pull list. I bought this because it's issue 1, even though it's volume 3 or 4, or the 3rd or 4th story anyway. I guess they're each volume is a different story. It is, of course, Robert E. Howard's Savage Hero Uncensored, The Sumerian, Man-Eaters of Zamboula. This is being done by Ablaze Comics. And yeah, it's a mature audience book. This is a series of Conan stuff that is based directly from Robert E. Howard's words. Instead of being new stories or whatever Marvel's doing, love the Marvel stuff of Conan. But it's not the original Conan. It's not this. I'm going to be getting the trades for the earlier stories and whatnot. This is being added to my pull list because it's beautiful. Beautifully done. Writer and artist, Gess, Gess. Letterer, Desi Cienti. Cover artist, Yannick Paquet. Moritat, Gess, Robin Recht. Fritz Casas. Man. And the art is fantastic in this. Like I said, the writing, well, it's adapted from Robert E. Howard's books. So there's a story about Zamboula that Robert E. Howard wrote where this is taken from. Love the concept. I hear so much about this stuff from my one of the YouTube channels I watch, my good buddy over there at Second Street Marvel, Trinity. So what's up, Trinity, if you're watching this? I appreciate the recommendation on this one. It looks beautiful. Can't wait to read it. Next up, pull list time. AWA Upshot, number 2 out of 6. J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi's Moths. Moths. Not moths. See how I did it now, Trinity? Moths. I couldn't very well correct you. Here I am talking to you like you might not even be watching this. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If you were there on his stream, you know what I'm talking about. This looks pretty sick. First issue was cool. This is a spin-off type series relating to the Resistance, as well as many of the other books AWA is putting out there right now. Great company that came out of the pandemic, I guess it was called. This is also on my pull list. Redemption, number 5 of 5. Let's picture the cover and the look, Dr. Aphra shows up in this one. Can't wait to read it. I've only read issue 1 of this book, and it was pretty cool. I liked the idea of it. It was rather almost steampunk like Western. Not All Robots, a 5-issue series, August 1st on sale, August 4th. Mike Deodato Jr. and Mark Russell. Welcome to the future, mankind. Your services are no longer required. Huh. Sounds pretty cool. But anyway, now that this is completed, I look forward to reading it. And if it moves me enough, I will, of course, review it. Reviewing comics ain't easy, so that's why I don't have a whole lot of those on the channel. Nocterra, number 5 from Image Comics. This was in my pull list. It's the Scott Snyder story. Tony S. Daniel and Tomo Mori. Don't you see? We made it. We can. That's the words on the back of the book. This is the story where she's like there's the big dark has happened, or the big PM has happened, where it's nighttime perpetually, and there are beings in the dark that will fuck you up, and she has to transport people somewhere. And yeah, it's a great story. Didn't read number 4 yet, so I gotta go back and I'll probably start from the beginning and just read the first 5 anyway. It's not a done deal yet. Next up, Geiger number 4 on my pull list. Also on my pull list is what I want to say. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Brad Anderson. Another one I only read the first issue of. Post-apocalyptic type thing. There's a guy, he glows. Stuff happens. I'm loving it. I recommend it. We got one more book that was the pull list, and that would be Walking Dead Deluxe number 18. This is, of course, the Robert Kirkman original run of it with color added. Not a lot to say on it. Walking Dead's one of my favorite comic series that has completed a complete story in comic book history. Definitely maybe my number 1 favorite completed. I have to emphasize, a book that has been completed. This might be my favorite out of all of those books. So when I heard they were doing this with, deluxe edition, the back of the book has the letter hacks, just like it used to. I think these are the original letters too. And it also has a cutting room floor section where it shows Kirkman's notes. Hard to see that. The layout, character notes, whatever. And then the other side, it just talks about it. Goes through the process of having made this issue. So I cannot wait for that to have a nice complete set of Walking Dead Deluxe, where all, even though it's a colored edition, I'll have the whole set. That'll be pretty sick collection. Next up, we got from the rack. I still haven't added this to my pull list for some reason. We got Radiant Black number 5. This is the Kyle Higgins story with all these other wonderful people. I'm trying to wrap this up quickly. That's why I'm not really getting into it too much. Superhero story. A little different. Pretty cool. Very fun. Not very deep. I recommend it if you're into light comic books, like light reading, like you don't want to have to think too hard. Start with number 1. They only have 5 of them out so far. I'm sure you can find all 5 of them out there. Conan the Barbarian from Marvel. Yeah, that's right. We're going back to the Marvel stuff. Back to Conan. This is continuing the Land of the Lotus storyline. I believe there's one more issue to it, to this arc. What's the team here? Let's see. Jim Zub, writer. Corey Smith, penciler. Roberto Poggi and Oren Jr., inkers. Israel Silva, colorist. VC's Travis Lanham is the letterer. So, yeah. I have just about every issue of this Marvel run. I love Conan. Love the original stories. I do like what they're doing there. Next up is, and finally, this is the last book I have to talk about, is Image, Top Cow, Helm Grey Castle, number 3. Thought number 1 was really well done. Bought number 2, and then I got number 3. Haven't read number 2 or 3 yet, but that's alright. Let's see. Created by Henry Barajas, Brian Valenza. Story by Henry B. Color artist Brian V. Penciler Ramat M. Handoko. Letter artist Gabriella Downey. There's a lot of people involved with this. It's a fantasy story. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you will love this, I think. I don't play D&D, but I like the idea of it, and I love fantasy. The back pages is a adventure whatever for the dungeon master and whatnot, so you can actually play this story. And then at the back has a preview for A Man Among You, number 5, which I guess is another story. I don't know. But this is cool as hell, and I recommend it if you are a D&D fan. So, yeah, people, that is all I have for today. I have rambled for a half hour. Well, I did talk about weed in the beginning for a while, didn't I? Anyway, if you like the weed part, click like. If you like the second part about the comics, click like. If you didn't like either part, but you watched the whole video, you are a trooper. Click thumbs down, I don't care. That's cool. Either way, man, make sure you subscribe and click those notification bells. I am Reeferman Reviews, and we will talk soon. Peace.